morning, everyone. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Tuesday today. Welcome us another day to reset, another day to join together to recalibrate ourselves. I'm just so excited today. Today is a special day for us here at the Renewal Center. We're streaming live at the Renewal Center. For those of you who are not acquainted to Tea Time Tuesday or the Renewal Center, I am actually on location again here in the Thought Room. And I'm so excited to have a beautiful view of the trees outside. It's just been a beautiful morning. And we are closing out Mental Health Awareness Month here at the Renewal Center. We've just had a wonderful month of talking about devotionals. We've talked about some great teas. We're going to continue like we always do. Now, my name is Carmela Head. I'm Director of Renewal and Community Programs here at the Renewal Center, and I want to welcome you if you're here for the first time. For those of you that normally stream with us, I normally could see you guys today, but I'm streaming from my phone, and I'm not able to actually see you. So I'll wait for the feed to come up, the blast to come up, so I could welcome you guys. I hope you brought your tea. So I'm going to just go forward today. Actually, we have, good afternoon, Theresa. I hope you're having a good afternoon. One of the things that I'm excited about today is we have a special guest. This is our first guest on Tea Time Tuesday, and we're so excited about our guest being with us here today. And we're going to introduce her a little bit later as I bring the executive director on. But we're going to open up our Tea Time Tuesday today with the tea of the week. Our tea of the week is chai tea. I hope you guys have heard some great things about chai tea. For the month of May, we've been covering black teas. Good afternoon, Elder Monique. How are you this afternoon? We have been covering black teas, and so we're going to close out the month of May with chai tea. And chai tea is formulated with a black tea. I'm going to give you a little bit of history about chai tea. Chai tea has been around for a very, very long time. Chai tea is a very rich and flavorful tea made from black tea. And it's made with blends of spices like ginger and cinnamon and fennel, black pepper, and clove. For those of you that love those spices, I think you would probably really enjoy chai tea. Chai tea is a blend combined with milk and sweeteners, if you like honey or whatever sweetener that you like. It's combined and it's warmed up. And some people even drink chai tea chilled, but for the most part, we drink it hot, and it's really nice. And I would advise you guys to check out more information about chai tea. Many people find that chai tea is very delicious. There's a special process, and I would say a special science behind making chai tea, the special tea blend. So do some research in your spare time and enjoy a cup of tea, a cup of chai tea. And so then when we get back together again on Tea Time Tuesday, you can let us know how chai tea has worked for you. Good morning, Kimberly Sinclair. Hope you're doing great today. Good morning, Nicole. How are you doing today? It's great to see you all joining us today. Don't forget to tag a friend, invite a friend, ask your friend to come and join us today. We are having a wonderful day at the Renewal Center because we have a special guest. And so we also want to talk about our book of the week. We have been covering devotionals for the entire month of May. And so I thought it would be very appropriate to close out talking about journals. Every one of us might have a journal in our home or in our office. And so I would love to just encourage everyone this month to close out the month by buying or going to get yourself a great journal that you can begin journaling through the summer. Information out there on tips and ideas on journaling and how to incorporate journaling in our everyday lives. It's such a great practice to have, to explore and to enjoy journaling. So without further delay today, I want to go ahead and bring on our executive director, Patrick J. Brown, who will go forth with the rest of our Tea Time Tuesday today.
Thank you so much, Carmela. So good to have you on. Excited to be here. Please excuse my voice. Been kind of struggling a little bit the past couple of days. So if it goes in and out, I do apologize. Welcome everybody to our last installment on Mental Health Awareness Month for Tea Time Tuesday. Hope that you're enjoying your afternoons and your mornings, depending on where you are in our world today, or if you're on the replay. So please share with us what tea do you have today. Share with us. We're going to take a moment again. The whole focus of our tea time is for us to rest and to reset.
Yes.
We want to make sure that you have an opportunity to relax yourself, to take a moment to really reset, because there's a lot of movement in our world. And so it's important that we take a moment to just renew ourselves and reset and to build resilience. So what teas are you drinking today? Hi, there's a Queenie Love. Hello, how are you, Queenie? Thank you for coming on today. Pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much. Anybody else there? If you're out there, share with us what tea you are drinking today. All right, let's see what we got here. Kim, lemon tea. All right. Folks I'm going to be quiet here. I'm going to let Mel take over for a little bit. I'll drink my tea. So go right ahead.
Okay, you enjoy your tea. I see we have some real flavorful teas coming in. Lemon tea, ginger, and turmeric. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, hot cinnamon tea. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest today. I am so excited about our guest. She's no stranger to me. And we have been friends actually going on 9 years. I'm just so glad that I'm able to connect with her and bring her on the show today on Tea Time Tuesday. Patrick and I, when we talked about who we would like to have come on, she was one of our, just came into our minds, and we really want to bring her on today. Her name is Revella H. Nesbitt. Revella H. Nesbitt, and I'm so excited that she's here. Currently, she is the founder and executive director of Hope Matters, PLLC. She is, I would say, she is a licensed clinical mental health counselor supervisor in behavioral health, 28 years in the field of behavioral health. We're so excited. Good afternoon, Latasha. And she is the author of Hope Changes Everything. I have the book right here in the thought room. So excited about this book and about introducing Revella. As she comes on, Patrick is going to bring her on so that we can go ahead and talk about some things that she's going to share with us today. The 8 dimensions of wellness. Oh, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Revella, welcome to Tea Time Tuesday.
Oh, it's such a pleasure being here. I'm so excited to be here in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month. So glad that you all had me on. I do have to tell you, my tea is hot cinnamon tea. That I am put it in the chat.
Well, we're all excited to have you on, Revella. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your week and your day to be with us. One of the key things about our Tea Time Tuesday really is about building resilience, about resting, and about resetting. So we want to jump right into our conversation today. Again, I do want to mention that she is an author of Hope Changes Everything. So I just want to put that out there. I have her book. She's going to be in my Change Matters podcast this Thursday at 7 p.m. So folks, make sure you tune in on Thursday. All right, just want to put that nice little plug in. Revella, let's go ahead and share.
Absolutely. So again, thank you, Patrick and Camilla. I'm so excited to be here today, to be here to talk about wellness and mental health. It is definitely an area of passion for me as I've, sort of gone this journey of walking alongside many people throughout my many years of being in the mental health field. So I'm really excited to be here. I want to sort of set up what we're going to talk about today. So I want to just give you some sort of thoughts and ideas. First, we're going to define mental health. We're going to define mental illness. And then we're going to do just this comparison to physical health and physical illness. We're then going to talk about the impact. I'm just going to touch on just one or two statistics. We'll talk about the impact of mental illness. And then we're going to hit on stigma. And then we're going to go into the 8 dimensions of wellness. Because where we want to be is this level of wellness, this level of well-being. Is where we want to be able to have some levels of balance. So first, let's start by talking about mental health. So what is mental health? We hear that term all the time. So mental health refers to our emotional and our psychological state. It's how we feel about ourselves, how we interact with others. Um, it's all of that about emotionally. Where are we? Mental illness is an illness that affects the way people think, behave, and interact with others. So things like schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, PTSD, those are examples of mental illness. I often like to compare it to physical health and physical illness because we can sort of make that analogy, right? It kind of makes sense. So when you think about physical health, you think about we all have physical health, just as we all have mental health. We all have physical health. We all are, checking in and seeing how our body is doing, how our organs are doing. How's our heart? How's our liver? How's our kidney? How's our arms and legs and eyes and all the different parts of our body, right? So we all have physical health. And then sometimes some of us have physical illness, whether that's cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, MS, the list can go on and on. So do you see the comparison? We all have mental health. We all have physical health. And at different times, we have to gauge where we are in our mental health just as well as we do in our physical health. So it's just as common as that. So when we think about the impact, what's the overall impact of mental health and mental illness? So approximately 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. experience mental illness in a given year. It's regardless of race. Fewer than half of those in the U.S. with a mental health condition receive mental health services in any given year. I want to share another statistic with you. So African Americans utilize mental health services at about 1/2 the rate of white Americans. About 1/2 of the rate. Black Americans are 20% more likely to experience a serious mental health problem than the general population. So think about that for a second. Okay. So we've just, and are still sort of on the tail ends of COVID or quarantine, and there have been substantial increases in anxiety and depression over the past year. Research and statistics are showing some substantial increases of that. So it's more the reason why to have this conversation about mental health, mental illness, and mental wellness, because whether we want to admit it or not, we're somewhere on this spectrum of mental health, mental illness.
I'm glad that you started out with giving us an understanding of what it is. Because many times when people say the word mental health, it immediately has a negative connotation. And whereas when we say physical health, that doesn't have a negative connotation.
Right.
And yet we immediately go to the negative. And really, it's about just observing where we are and knowing where we are. And I'm so glad that you started out with that analogy, that comparison of the differences and the similarities. So I just want to thank you for breaking that down.
Right. I think it's important to be able to normalize. And I think that's part of the stigma that exists, that we don't always see it as something that is normal, that people experience different levels on this continuum of mental health / mental illness. And so, it sort of feeds into the stigma that we have had in our communities over the last many years. And there are a lot of reasons stigma, has played into that. I often talk about, mental health and the church, and that there often are impressions or thoughts that if I have a mental illness, or if I'm struggling any way in my mental health, then I must not be praying hard enough, or I must not, I must have done something wrong. You know, did I sin? Is God punishing me? You know, so we want to be able to normalize that. We want to be able to put it in a context in which people can understand and they can relate to. Because there is a hope that if people are able to relate to it and connect with it, that you'll connect with yourself and you'll be able to get whatever the help that it is that you need. Maybe it's just talking to someone. Maybe it's just, you know, finding a therapist just to kind of talk through life situations and transitions. As we go through the 8 dimensions of wellness, maybe there might be some areas in which you say, you know what, I'm not at my optimum in this area. Perhaps I'll, you know, need somebody to talk to. Maybe it's a therapist, maybe it's a life coach, maybe it's a trusted friend. You know, but we want to be able to give those options so that people know that there are options that you can consider wherever it is that you're on this journey of mental wellness and mental health.
I appreciate you normalizing that for us, giving us clarity. There's real quick as we move forward in the conversation. There is a little feedback. Does someone have the computer on, or if you could turn the computer volume down, the feedback will stop. Are we good?
Is it better? Is it better?
Perfect. All right. Great.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Revella, I just want to say I really like the fact that you talk about the options that we have. I really like you sharing that insight with us.
Yeah. I think that's important. You know, I think that's really important. So, you know, as I have practiced over the last many years, you know, I often tell individuals when they are coming into therapy, you know, I get a lot of folks who come into therapy. It is their first time coming to therapy. And there is some trepidation, some fear, some concern, some based on, you know, much of the stigma that exists. But also, oftentimes people think, oh, are you going to like psychoanalyze me? You know, are you going to, you know, pick out all the things that are not right about me and all of that? And, you know, it's not that. It's being able to, you know, being open enough to be able to hear that positive, constructive feedback, you know, to make sure that we're on the right track. I also want to send folks to a resource, and that is Mental Health America has on its website an online tool that's a screening tool. That if, you know, if you wanted to just do something in the comfort of your home, just again check in and see where you are. That's also an option for you as well. So as we dive into the 8 dimensions of wellness, we're going to start with emotional wellness. But before I begin, there's a couple things I want to tell you. So when we talk about a person's well-being, I want you to be able to take inventory. So you got a piece of paper that you can grab a piece of paper and a pen to jot down a rating on where you are as we go through these 8 dimensions. Rate from 1 to 5, 5 being the highest of where you are, as we talk very briefly about these 8 dimensions of wellness. And again, wellness is a temperature check. So think about it. We're kind of checking in. We're checking, like you go to the doctor for a checkup. Think about this as your hour for a mental health checkup. Okay, we checking in and checking up to see how you're doing. One of the things I want to point out is that data and statistics have shown that well-being and wellness has been associated with longer life expectancy and better health outcomes. So the higher you're rated on your well-being and your wellness, the longer it is anticipated you're going to live and the better health outcomes that you will have. Isn't that amazing?
Wow, that is amazing. Yes, it is.
It's pretty amazing. So more the reason to get that pen and paper to jot this down. So let's start with emotion. Emotional wellness. So what is emotional wellness? So emotional wellness is our ability to be able to cope effectively with life and build satisfactory relationships with others. So some of the things to think about when we think about emotional wellness are resilience. So how is your ability to be able to bounce back? To be able to draw on internal and external resources that may enable you to adapt to adversity. So think about this past year. We have been in a very unique time, very unique time that we have not experienced in our lifetime. And there have been some difficult moments. There have been some good moments. There's been some difficult moments. So what's your resilience been? And that and other things. How are you able to deal with those setbacks? How are you able to overcome? How is your confidence level? How are you able, or are you enjoying your favorites? So whether that's your favorite movies, your favorite foods, your favorite activities, do you know what those favorites are? And are you enjoying those on a regular basis? I want to just give you a little teaser. Toward the end, I'm going to talk about something I created, which is a soul care kit. And I'm going to save that to the end so you can hang on with me. But it's something that I created over the last couple of weeks that I use to really nurture my soul and nurture my time. So hold on. But I'm going to give you some things, and it's all going to add up at the end. So then we're going to talk about financial. So that's emotional. We're going to go to financial. So financial is your satisfaction of your financial situation. So are you establishing a budget? Do you have a budget? Do you have a savings account? Do you have an emergency account? Do you have a college savings account for your children or your nieces or your nephews, however you choose to be able to do that? Can you differentiate between your wants and your needs and have some level of discipline and control around that? I will say this past year, the pandemic, COVID, and all the things that have happened, I don't know about you, but it really brought in light, in view, finances. You know, as I look around, there are some people who've lost jobs, some who've increased in jobs and job opportunities over this period of time. But it really has given us a perspective on what is it that we want and what is it that we need. It really made us think about that, because everything we thought we needed, was it something we wanted? Or everything we thought we wanted, was it something we needed? So we really had to kind of think about that financially. You know, where are you on your credit card debt? Do you have any? Is it a topic that got too many zeros behind and you don't want to talk about? All of those things affect our financial wellness, because if you have those stressors and you're constantly thinking about what you have to do to get in a better place. So sometimes we may have to make hard decisions. Maybe we got to go on stop spending, or put ourselves on a budget. Consider thrift stores or consignment stores, or just basically consider, do we really even need it? I really had to think about, do I really need it? I mean, not being able to get up and go to the store when I wanted to, because we were on quarantine and hours were limited and you didn't want to have exposure. It really made me think about, do I really need that? And the more I thought about it, most of the time I didn't. It was just an impulse. It was just something, I'm bored. I want to do something. But all of that plays into financial wellness. So where are you? Where are you in your financial wellness? So then let's go to social. So social wellness is our sense of connectivity and belonging. So let's think about our network. Do we have a healthy support network? Do you have times in which you spend time with your friends for lunch and dinner? Now, COVID has made that look a little different. So, it hasn't always been in person. Our family has done a lot of Zoom calls. Our celebrations have been over Zoom. We've had weddings over Zoom, but we found a way to be able to connect. And so that's what is so important around social wellness. Are you finding that time to be able to connect? Are you connecting, with people that are life givers to you? Are you doing that? Um, are you having, some opportunities to connect and join clubs and organizations? Many of you are part of lots of different groups. Are you connecting in those times? Are you finding yourself isolated, or are you pushing yourself to be able to connect with other people? And then, are you a good communicator? Are you communicating? That's a part of social wellness. Are you communicating well with others? So let's go to spiritual. So spiritual wellness. So spiritual wellness is around our values and our beliefs that help you have meaning and purpose in life. And so that may look different for different people. There are opportunities to promote your spiritual wellness through prayer and reading scripture and meditation and worship, and spending time in nature and self-reflection. All of those things are really important. For me, music. I love to listen to music. That just puts me in a place that really gets me connected. I also love the water. The beach I think Camilla and I have that in common. I love to go to the beach. I love to see the water. It just puts me in a place where I can really reconnect with my Heavenly Father and all the wonder that He has done. So for me, that's important to me. If I go too long without that, I am definitely unbalanced. So that's really important to me. With spirituality, do you have clear values? Have self-confidence, inner peace, curiosity, playfulness? In this stage of life, I'm trying not to take myself too seriously. I'm trying to go a lot more with the flow and not take myself too seriously, because God has a sense of humor, and I like to think, I need to make sure that I have a sense of humor there too as well. The next dimension is occupational. So this is a sense of satisfaction with work. And so I know there's probably many sort of thoughts about this. Some of us may be in places where we are working somewhere where we're not fully fulfilled. Others of us may be 100% fulfilled in our occupation. But I wanna stretch your mind a little bit around occupation. It's oftentimes what are you bringing to that job? What are you bringing purposely to that space? Does that job fit in with your values, your interests, and your skills? And sometimes it may be more than one thing. It may be more than one job. So maybe it is that on your full-time job, or your job you spend most of your time, that you're bringing one thing to that space. But then you have these other, I'm going to say hustles, other jobs, other hustles, other things that bring you even more joy. So we have to look at all of that. So it's not just one job. We have many jobs and many spaces in which we engage within. So think about how you're bringing that level of balance to your life with that. Are you able to balance your work and your leisure? Or are you 100% or 95% work mode all the time and not really enjoying yourself, and doing things in all these other dimensions to have that work-life integration? I want to submit to you that, I think it's really good to be able to step away sometimes from our jobs, and from our work, because that gives us more perspective. We come back with a fresh take, and fresh thoughts and fresh perspectives. So sometimes instead of just grinding, we need to take a step back. Because I believe that there are things that just dropped on us, when we take that time away. So don't neglect the occupational wellness piece of where you are. So the next one is physical. So physical wellness. That is our physical activity, our health, our nutrition, our sleep. So how are you doing physically? So we talked about physical health earlier, but how are you? Where are you? Are you maintaining some level of physical activity? Whether that's yoga, biking, basketball, walking, running, tennis, jogging. There's so many different things. Dancing, gardening. What are you doing in this area to be able to maintain your physical wellness? Weight management, rest. So I haven't seen the data, but I am convinced that over COVID, there's things called COVID pounds, that and it is real and it does exist. And I'm with many of you. I'm on that journey to make sure I have that level of balance in that part of my life, because COVID kind of took some things out of balance for me. So your weight management, your rest. Are you getting enough rest at night? Your body needs that rest and rejuvenation. So not just going to sleep and resting, but also just having some time where you're resting your mind. That you are just, you just taking things out of your mind. That you're meditating. That you're centralizing yourself, some thoughts. All of that's important too. Sometimes it's really important just to be able to center yourself. And I particularly like to do this when I am talking to other people, or presenting. I always like to do that, to be able to center myself, to be able to reconnect with myself physically. That's really important. And sometimes many of us who just go. We don't ever stop. We continuously go because we think the busier we are, the more productive we are. Or the busier we are, the less that we're able to focus on those other areas of our lives that may not be going the way that we want them to go. So if we stay busy, we don't have to deal with it. So that physicalness of just coming back and just centering ourselves and just kind of being there. That's a part of rest too, part of your mind resting. So let's go on to environmental. So the environmental is the health of our environments, our social and our natural environments. So in this area, I'm going to talk about organization. How's your environment? Is it cluttered? Is it disorganized? Is your home cluttered, disorganized? Is your car cluttered and disorganized? I often like to think about that. Our space often dictates or tells us how we're feeling internally. So check in on that. How's your space? How's your house, your home, your more intimate space? How is that? Now I want to talk about sort of our neighborhood. So, or just other parts of our environment. So are you in an unsafe environment? Are you in a home in which there's violence? Or are you in a community in which there's violence? Or lack of necessities, water, I can think about Flint, Michigan. Environmental, this is important. Think about those families in Flint, Michigan who really didn't have the basic need of having healthy water to drink for periods of time. So go back to what I said earlier about wellness and our health outcomes. Think about that. Think about the impact that has on us. Think about the impact. And I'm sure there are other communities across our country that are the same. Maybe it's not the water, maybe it's other things. So, how is your environment? This is interesting. Studies have shown that where you live can improve or diminish your well being. Where you live can improve or diminish your well being. So think about food deserts. We talk about food deserts in communities, where you cannot get fresh fruits and vegetables. So your environment is critically important in your well-being. Are you able to access and get the things that you really need? So then we're going to round this out with the 8th dimension, and that is intellectual. So intellectual says, are you seeking ways to use your knowledge and your skills? So those are activities that cultivate your mental growth. We often talk about, in leadership and in mental health about having a growth mindset. But how are you cultivating your mental growth? Are you reading? Are you doing puzzles and games? Are you having healthy conversations and healthy discussions with others? I say healthy discussions, healthy debates, not arguments, healthy debates and healthy discussions with others that are challenging you and how you think, challenging you to think bigger and broader, challenging your thought process. Have you created a new hobby? What about learning a new language, teaching, tutoring? All of those are ways to be able to increase our intellectual capacity for well-being. And what that intellectually does for us is that it increases our concentration, increases our memory, and it increases our critical thinking skills. So intellectually, right? So those are the 8 dimensions of wellness. So earlier I asked you to get a piece of paper, see where you are with your mental wellness, rate yourself from 1 to 5. So take a moment, look at that list, check in with yourself. Where are you? Where are you? So think about the lowest 2 scores. So the lowest 2 dimensions. What are those dimensions and where are you in those dimensions? And I'm going to encourage you to create a plan to increase those lower dimensions of wellness. And we've gone through a couple of suggestions on what you can do to be able to increase that level of wellness in all 8 areas. So I want you to think about that. I also want to share with you as I sort of close out my formal part of this. I don't know if Patrick knew that I was going to do this, but I'm always full of surprises. So I mentioned earlier about what I call a soul care kit. And this is something I created a couple weeks ago. Just, I was just in a place. I mean, we all get in a place sometimes. Just in a place where I really needed to tangibly put together something that I could create me a space and a time in which I could focus on my well-being, my soul. I call it my soul care kit because I just feel like sometimes my soul just needs to be nurtured. Who I am, what I bring to the table. We all need that extra, we just need that little extra hug and a little extra love, right? And it's a way for me to, at different times, really get in touch with where I am and what I'm doing. So I created what I'm calling a soul care kit, Nurture My Soul. So I want to share with you what I have in my soul care kit. And some of this may resonate with the different dimensions of wellness that I've talked about because some relate sort of directly to that. But then other things are just important to me. Um, because I'm going to tell you, this whole process of putting this together really made me think about what makes me feel good. What helps me center myself. So I'm going to start with a candle. I have a candle and which I often sit. When I sit down with my items, I'll light my candle. What's interesting about this candle is it is the scent of a sea salt because I like the beach. So it smells like the beach. So that's important. Then I have a devotional, and this is the Illustrated Words of Jesus for Women. It's a daily devotional that someone gave to me some years ago. What's beautiful about this, not only is it just brief words of wisdom, I also have the opportunity to color. It's an adult coloring book as well. So with that, I have some colored pencils that also helps me sort of center myself with my coloring.
Now, Revella, is this something that you are encouraging us to build? Our soul care kit?
To build, absolutely. Whatever it looks like for you.
Okay.
And this is very formal. So I have a box and everything because I like to grab my box and go find me a nice place to sit down. Maybe you're not a box person. I'm structured. I like to have all my things in one place. So whatever that is. And I will tell you, I don't do all these things at the same time. I sit down with my box and I choose what I want to do. It's almost like playtime, right? I choose what I want to do, what I want to play with at that moment. That's going to center me because what I need this time may not be what I need the next time, right? Because I'm working on these dimensions of wellness. So what I need may be different at different times.
So in the soul care kit, that will help us with all these dimensions.
Yeah, it absolutely will help you with all dimensions. Again, it's all about what you put into it, right? All the different items that you put into it. Camilla mentioned earlier about a journal. So a journal is really important. So sometimes there are thoughts. Maybe I'm thinking about my job and my career, and I can jot that down. Maybe I'm thinking about my physical wellness. Or my spiritual wellness, or my relationships. I can, just begin to jot my thoughts down to see where I am. And oftentimes when we write things, that brings that level of clarity for us. In addition to that journal, which is a blank journal, I also have a gratitude journal. Because sometimes we lose sight of those things which we are grateful for.
Yeah.
So there's a gratitude journal in here as well. And then I have some bath bombs because every woman loves a good hot bath. Sometimes you just need to just be able to relax. And every good man too loves a hot bath.
Absolutely.
And then I have, and this right here, this will change for me over time. But I have some index cards, and on these index cards, I put a couple things that are important to me. So, so the first one is it's physical. So it's about yoga and meditation. So I put a couple of yoga stretches on here because sometimes maybe I just need to physically kind of center myself, right? And to do some things. You can put extras, you can put whatever you want on these cards. So this is what I have on here. Then I have songs because music is important to me. And this will change over time. I put some songs that really began to center me and uplift me and uplift my countenance. And really oftentimes put me in a much more place of gratitude as well. So all kinds of songs.
Are those wellness cards or just?
So they could be wellness cards, yes. but I have chosen what I want to put on this. So this I choose something.
Okay.
You may choose something different. You know,
Okay.
you may choose um, to put people on here. You may choose to put YouTube clips on here or of inspirational messages that you know that you can. Oh yeah, I remember I listened to that. That gave me good inspiration. That really, brought some insight to me. To whatever it is that you want to put on these cards. These are things that I just chose to put on these cards. And then I do affirmations. I do affirmations, in addition to a mirror in which I can look at myself and I can say, I am enough and I am loved and I am wonderfully made. All those things are really good to really be able to boost our emotional wellness and our perception of ourselves. Again, you can put whatever it is that you want on these different cards. So then our chocolate. Okay, I'm gonna be real. Chocolate doesn't make me feel
Oh,
good
well,
because that's important to me.
chocolate comes from a plant, so it's a vegetable.
It's a plant. Definitely. And then whether I'm drinking tea, water, whatever it is that I choose, something that's refreshing for me. That I can just sit and just, be able to nurture my soul. So those are the things that I have in my soul care kit. I would just encourage you to do whatever works
Wow.
for you. That's just what works for me.
Okay.
But I would encourage you to do whatever works for you.
I appreciate that idea. I think
Mhm.
that, as we are celebrating and
Mhm.
honoring mental health awareness, these 8 dimensions of wellness, that is helping us tie it all together.
Mhm.
I want to ask you, as it relates to these 8 dimensions of wellness, is this about having balance in these areas, or is it about having awareness and being mindful of these areas, or is it a combination of all of these?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all of those. I think most importantly, it's about having a level of balance, right?
Okay.
And it's a striving toward a level of balance. And sometimes it's hard to be able to balance 8 dimensions all at once and to be
Right.
able to operate optimally in all of the different areas. But it's
Right.
a striving for that. It's awareness of that. If you find that, you are not doing so well in one area and you're just not sort of feeling like yourself, it's
Mm-hmm.
worth investigating and looking deeper
Mm-hmm.
into that area, to
Mm-hmm.
be able to bring that area up, to be able to create some goals for yourself, to have that level, of balance there. So it is
Yeah.
about balance. It's about awareness as well.
I appreciate you sharing that,
Mhm.
because sometimes there are proverbial perfectionists.
Yeah,
And
that would be
I
me
gotta be a
sometimes.
5, 1 through 5. I gotta be a 5 at every level. And if I drop the
Yes.
5, so I'm glad that you said that about balance and the
Yes.
strive in the journey, not
Yes.
necessarily the destination.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Uh,
And I would say with that, Patrick, of just being able to give yourself grace,
okay.
right? It's not so hard and fast that if I'm not where I need to be in my occupation, this is just horrible, or I'm not at my ideal weight. I don't know if I'll ever be at my ideal weight. I'm going to be honest, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop striving
Right.
to be there and to be healthy
Yes.
along the journey, and to have joy, as I travel that journey toward that destination. So, yeah.
I
Mm,
appreciate that. That is
mm,
very practical. What you shared
mhm,
today, especially specifically with the soul care kit. I'm
mhm,
sure many people watching, like, maybe I need to consider what goes into my soul care kit, my box, my bag, or my space that I'm creating,
mhm.
that's going to
Yeah.
help me navigate, these 8 dimensions of wellness. So again,
Mhm,
today, folks, we've discussed with our guest today, Revella Nesbitt, these 8 areas: intellectual, emotional, physical, social, occupational, financial, environmental, and spiritual. And what I like us to do is I'd like you to, based upon the exercise you gave us, where are you in these 8 areas? Like, what's your takeaway for today? What's one takeaway? What particular dimension are you going to give more attention to at this time in your life? So go ahead and put that in our chat. I'd like to hear from you. Let's get some feedback from our audience. Is it intellectual? We talked through about engaging our mental development. Is it emotional? How are we connecting? Are we making meaningful connections? Are we aware? How are we in our social networking? Are we connecting? Do we have life givers, which is something you shared? We talked about what are we bringing to the table? What are we bringing to our vocation? Where are we financially? Are we really looking at where we are financially? And we have a picture of what we're doing with our income and our output. Where do we live? You talked about our environment and how you connected well-being to our quality of life and our life expectancy, which is interesting because we wonder about what we have and how it's good to be so grateful for what we have. So that's grateful. And then, of course, spiritual. So for those of you that are listening, I know you've been sipping on your tea and thinking about everything that Revella has shared with us today. Please go ahead and put in the chat, what areas, what's your takeaway? Is it 1 or 2? What are you going to be working on? What's your commitment? What's your self-affirmation concerning one of these areas or several of these areas? We like to hear from you in our chat. Okay, that'd be great as we close out our Tea Time Tuesday today. So Revella, share a little bit more about, in your profession as a licensed professional. You talked earlier about mental health and then mental illness specifically. And what steps would you encourage people to do to normalize mental health right now? As people have experienced loss, they've experienced grief, they've experienced a lot of challenges in a pandemic, possibly. What insight would you offer, perhaps, from a mental health awareness perspective?
Absolutely. One of the first things I would say is get educated. You're being here and part of this conversation is a good step, in that journey of getting educated about mental health and mental wellness and mental illness. I would also say, to do, what I mentioned earlier, and that was or is a temperature check of where you are. Where are you? We've gone through and life continues. Life is difficult. Life is hard. We've all gone through different times in our lives. Whether you are in a storm, going through a storm, or coming out of a storm. And you can define storm however it is that you choose. But be able to check to see where you are. Don't be afraid to have someone in which you can check in with, whether that is a professional counselor, therapist, whether that's a friend, whether that's a trusted person in your life. Don't be afraid to check in with someone, have conversations with others. Oftentimes, we may be afraid of what people may think and what they may say if we say we're having a difficult time. But it's okay. I guess I would want people to know that it's okay wherever it is that you are. It's okay. What's not okay is not to reach out and get help. Oftentimes people suffer in silence because there's such a fear and such a concern about what other people think and how people feel about what they want to, what they share. And I would just say, don't suffer in silence. Find someone you can talk to. Unfortunately, there are so many people who completed suicide because they are struggling. Some have reached out, some have not. And it is not our desire for anyone necessary. And so we have professionals who are here to help you, to support you, to walk with you through this journey. And so that's the thing I would want to say. Make sure you're reaching out. Make sure you're not doing life alone.
Mm. Now that statement, not doing life alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Meaningful connection, social, emotional. And I'm so glad
Right.
you mentioned that. We talked about not being afraid to have someone to check in with, how critical that is. I'm thankful that you
Mm-hmm.
shared that. I want to encourage even the men that may be watching, those watching in replay.
Mm-hmm.
I know many times we are focused on our position. We
Mm-hmm.
are driven by logic and trying to be rational. There's nothing rational about our emotions, and there's nothing
Mm-hmm.
emotional about our rationale. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they're both
Well
important.
said.
And so it's important that we check into all areas
Yeah.
and not do it alone. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. I want to encourage our brothers and our sisters, of course, but just to speak with men in particular as well, just to ensure, do a check in. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we encourage people to do annual physicals,
Mm-hmm.
it's important that perhaps we need to do a mental physical or a
Yeah.
mental, well,
Yeah.
physical exam, mental
Yeah.
exam, right? Just to say, where am I? And like you shared,
Right.
a
Mhm.
temperature check.
Yes, yes. And I
And
would say, let's not forget about our children. Let's not forget about our children. Um, we want to consider. There's been a lot of change. Kids, there's a level of resilience that we all have, and there's a level of resilience that our children have as well.
yes,
But we don't want to forget about them. Sometimes we can be so absorbed in all that's going on in our world that we forget about the people that depend on us.
yes,
So don't forget about our children. I love that you talked about the men and how important that is. And it is not a sign of weakness. It is not. It is a sign of strength.
yes, it
It is
is.
a sign of strength when you can say, you know what, this is what I need right now in my life. That is
Hmm.
a sign of strength.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's so good. I know when we move into different places,
Mhm.
we'll ask, well, who's your dentist? Who's your eye doctor? Who's your
Yeah.
optometrist? Or
Mhm.
who's your primary care physician?
Yeah. Mm.
Your therapist?
You
Maybe
should.
that's a question we need to start asking ourselves, right?
Right,
So we
right.
can normalize taking care of our minds and our emotions. So
Exactly.
great. Revella, thank you so much for being on our
Yes.
Tea Time Tuesday with the Renewal Center. This has been great. Let's all do check-ins. Let's check in with our friends. Let's check in with our children. Let's check in with our colleagues that we're connected to. All
Mhm.
right, folks, let's make sure we do a temperature check of where we are in these areas, the 8 dimensions of wellness. So
Mhm.
this has been a great Tea Time Tuesday. This is how we're going to close out our
Thank
Mental
you.
Health Awareness Month with Revella Nesbitt. Thank you
Yes.
for being on. For
Yes.
those of you that tune in on Thursday, this coming Thursday, uh, Revella will be on my podcast, the Change Matters podcast, this coming Thursday at 7 p.m. We're going to be having more discussion concerning mental
Mhm.
health awareness, but also her book, which is called Hope Changes Everything. This is her book,
Mhm.
Hope Changes Everything. She has a PLLC as well. And so we're going to have some deeper conversation
Mhm.
concerning her message on Hope Matters and why she created that and why she wrote this book. So I am so looking forward to that
Yes.
conversation this coming Thursday. So you don't want to miss that. Please be with us. Mark your calendars. All right. I'll be posting a flyer a little bit later today. So if you want to be tagged, I'll tag you. I want to make sure that you're a part of that because I think that conversation is really going to be one that's going to strengthen all of us, especially in a day and age where we need hope. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Revella, thank you for being on. Any last words for the audience?
Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for the opportunity for the platform. I think I'll repeat what I said about not doing life alone
Okay.
and make sure that you are well in all areas of your
All right. Well,
life.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you for connecting. For those of you that are in the Charlotte, Concord area, please check in with us at the Renewal Center. Our director, Carmela Head, is there. And we want to make sure you come by our creative space, come by our cafe, come by and connect with us. Come in our thought room, read, come have some coffee with us and some tea. And again, just like Revella said today, give yourself some grace. And you can give yourself some grace by coming into a calm, creative space like the Renewal Center. And for those of you that want to support our mission, please feel free to download our mobile app, type it into your store, your Google store, your Apple store, the Renewal Centers. And if you'd like to give and donate and support our vision and our focus, you can do that. You can also text to give us, or you can use our mobile app, or even on our website, which is therenewalcenters.com/give. We definitely would like you to be a part of that. So again, Revella, thank you so much for being on. Thanks for everyone being part of this. And remember, I am Renewal, and we'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Carmela Ehad.
Hello, everybody. I'm Prophet Hope Milton.
Hi, I'm Patrick J. Brown, Executive Director of Culture and Context of the Renewal Center.
Here at the Renewal Center, it is the center for prophetic art, thought, voice, and action.
The one thing I love about the Renewal Center is the core values, which we're revealing Christ, renewing minds, we're restoring lives, and reforming community. And we know that the only way that we can do that is to reveal Christ to everyone.
That's right. If any person is in Christ, that person will be and can be a new creation. You've been created to reveal Christ. That's right. Christ in you, being born from above, being born again, being generated from a higher place, which is Christ. In you, the hope of glory.
And when I think about renewal, I think about continual growth. We all have the capacity. We all have the very much capacity to move forward and to expand ourselves. So that's what growth and renewal is all about here at the Renewal Center.
So excited to be here. I hope that you will continue to connect. This is an awesome vision. And I'm just excited about everything that God is doing in the Renewal Center here in Concord, North Carolina.
I am.
And I am
Renewal.